Hello Stitchy friends, how are you all? This is Flosstube number 28. My name is Sally and I'm also known as Flossie Sews and Grows here and on Instagram. Welcome to all of you, whether you are new to my channel. I really hope you like what you see, and to all my viewers who've been watching previously, it's lovely to have you back again with me. It's the 1st of March today, so happy St David's Day to all of you. I live in Wales, so St David is the patron saint of Wales, so today is traditionally the Feast of St David. So Wales has celebrated St David since the 12th century, but St David was born in the year 500 and lived until he was 89 years old, 88, 89. He died on the 1st of March in 589, so quite a long time ago. So here in Wales we celebrate him. We like wearing leeks. People sometimes wear leeks, and a leek was the national emblem of Wales. But in the 19th century, the national flower took over from the leek, was the daffodil, and so it's a little bit brighter and smells slightly nicer if you're going to wear one on your lapel. So happy St David's Day. I was going to show you a lovely little stitch that I've got, a spring stitch by Madame Chantilly, which has got some beautiful daffodils on it, and can I for the life of me find it? This is the problem with seasonal decorations, that you put things away and then go to get them out and you can't find them. But if I have got a picture of it, I'm sure I've got a picture of it somewhere, I will pop it up here so you can see it. So it's Spring by Madame Chantilly, if it's there. So it's the 1st of March. I have to say I haven't had the best of weeks. I started on some new medication on Monday and I'm on day 3 now of being quite headachy and a bit of a migraine. So not quite myself today. I thought I'm still going to come on and just be as chilled and as calm as I can, just to cope with the sore head, because I still wanted to chat to you. And I have to say, you know, I've still been stitching where I can. Most of the time, if I'm quiet and there's peace, I can stitch. So I maybe haven't watched quite as much Flosstube this week, but I still have managed to do some stitching. So really wanted to come on and give you my roundup for February of where I am, because obviously it's a big year for me this year. I'm turning 50, so I'm doing my 50 new starts with Sew Me Sarah. So, you know, really want to keep up the momentum of coming on and filming, despite not feeling 100%. But actually, you know, it does make me happy stitching. So I'm really happy to be here despite the slightly sore head. But calm and slow, and we'll get there. So my roundup for February, it's been a great month. I started with 9 whips. I had 6 new starts as part of my hashtag fun for 50 Sal with Sarah from Sew Me Sarah. So that was great. So I've done 12 so far for 2024. So I feel that really you've made a good start to the year. I think you will see things slow down as we go through the year. I think I've still got 5 or 6 planned for March, so March is still quite a busy month, but I think there'll be some bigger projects started in there when I've had quite a few smalls earlier in the year. So it's got me going, and I've made some good progress. I'm really pleased with that, and I'm also really pleased that actually out of my 9 whips, had 6 new starts, that took me up to 15. I actually finished 4, so I've ended with 11 whips for February, which is fantastic. It's still a really manageable number for me. You know, I think later in the year it's going to be much higher, but I'm looking forward to that. So I had one fully finished object, and I think you saw this as a start on my last video, and that was Winter Celebration by Hello from Liz Matthews, and that is a little freebie that you can find on her website. And I'm going to put a picture up of it here because I stitched it for my mum, and it was my mum's birthday last Friday, so I gifted it to her last Friday, and she was absolutely thrilled with it. So mum stitches as well, so I think when you stitch yourself, you really can appreciate when you get a gift or someone stitched something for you. And I think mum just, I mean, straight away she took it to her stitching lamp and put the lamp on and looked at it under the magnifier, because it was stitched on 40 counts, mystery fabric, but with the called for weeks dye works. And mum straight away wanted to look more closely at it because it's 40 count. Mum tends to, I think you would traditionally have stitched on 32 count, but now, you know, she's in her mid 70s, her eyesight's not as good. She now is stitching on 28 count. So, you know, she was really impressed with my 40 count, at how delicate it looked, and just, yeah, she was really pleased. So, you know, it was just, yeah, it's lovely to gift something to somebody who loved it and really appreciated it. So I just finished it as a little pillow, and with some fabric, just one of my fabrics, quilting fabrics that I had in my stash, on the back. And I did stitch on one of the little 50 charms that Roz from Roz Clark Crafts kindly gifted me, so because that was one of my 50 stitches. So that was on the back, and that will remind mum as well that she has a nearly 50-year-old daughter. So anyway, that was my FFO. I then had a finish. Now this was something that I didn't show you. I had stitched on my last video, but I wasn't going to show you because I felt that I was making quite slow progress, and I challenged myself to finish it in time for this video, and I'm not sure I can show it with my board. I have finished The Four Seasons by Barbara Anna. So I just needed to finish off Miss Winter here at the end, and I finished, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have got a finish on this. I'm so pleased. Really enjoyed stitching this most of the time. There's always odd times, aren't there, where you get a bit frustrated, and yeah, some of the white on here was frogged a couple of times, but it's done. I'm really pleased with it. I stitched Barbara Anna on a Wednesday night with my lovely friend Stitchy Sally, who I know many of you watch. So yeah, really pleased. I'm not entirely sure how I am going to fully finish this, because it's a slightly, I haven't checked out frames yet, whether I can get a frame that will fit it in one of my usual stores, such as the Range here in the UK, or maybe I did think I could finish it as a cushion, because I've got such beautiful fabrics, and colourful fabrics in my quilting stash. So I don't know. Any ideas of what you think? Or if you've done this before? I mean, I've done it on 40 count, so it does come as a kit. It's a Nitka kit, so unfortunately you can't buy it at the moment, but I was kindly sent the chart and leftover threads from the lovely Nicky in Canada, who is Nicky the Canuck. I think it's Nicky the Canuck, not Nicky the Canuck Stitcher. I think it's just Nicky the Canuck. And she'd heard me talk about it on a previous one of my very early floss tubes, how much I loved it, and she kindly sent me her chart and leftover threads. So I've stitched it on a 40 count mystery fabric. So it is smaller probably than if you bought the kit from Nitka, but yes. So I think I'll have to check out frames, check out sizings of frames to see if I can get one, and if not, maybe a cushion. watch this space. It will probably stay in my fully finishing pile for a while. Ever increasingly bigger pile of things that need to be finished, but hopefully I'll find something soon. So those were my 2 finishes for the last 2 weeks since I last spoke to you. So, and I had 1 new start, and I've hidden it amongst all of the, it's right at the bottom with my whips. So I've had 1 new start since I last spoke to you. So I think most of my new starts for February were before my last video, so you saw them as starts in the last video. And this new start was Hen and Chicks by Brenda Gervais. And you all know I have a little bit of a love of chickens. We had 4 chickens, and we now, unfortunately, we just have 2. Snow and Ginny, but they're lovely. They're noisy, make my garden very muddy, but I do love them. And so this is my little start on Hen and Chicks. So I've just started with that, with the lady. So I'm stitching, well, the lady chicken, mummy chicken. So I've just started with her. Now I'm stitching this on 36 count fabric from Fabrics by Crafty Kate, and it is called Sand Dune. And I believe, what did I stitch? Oh, I stitched Heart in Hand floral etchings on the other. So this was a fat, is it a fat 1/8 of part of, it was originally a fabric of the month, and it was so popular that Kate has put it in her normal range. So I think I stitched on the top part of it, I'd stitched floral etchings, and this is the bit that I had left, so it was just perfect size. And this is my project bag, which I bought from Wolfie Stitches, that her mum made with chickens on. I love it. So I'm stitching this with predominantly mix of the called for threads, and there are a few fancy flosses in there, but I'm only using the fancy flosses that I had, and then just supplementing with the DMC. So far only a little small start, but enjoyable, and I think that one will probably stitch up quite quickly. I'm just going to put everything away as I go so that it's not too destructive at the end. So onto my whips. This one is Moonshine Cabin by Modern Folk Embroidery. I'll pop a little picture here of what it should look like. And I think this is the only one of my whips that I have got a picture of what it looked like before I started stitching on it, so when I showed it to you last time. So I will pop a picture of that up as well. This is where I'm up to today. So I've managed to fill in more of these bits here, and I've started on this tree over here. So I'm stitching this on a 32 count, but 1/2. Even on 32 count, I only stitch with 1 thread. I just like how it looks. And I'm stitching it, it's either chalkboard or slate, not entirely sure of the colour, but it's dark. So it's slow. So I only stitch this when I'm here in my sewing room upstairs, because then I will stitch it with a light overhead, and then I will put on, I've got a little portable light, and I just lay this flat underneath and switch it to the lowest setting, just so I've got a little bit of light underneath. Just really helps me see it better. So it's not one that I can stitch downstairs in front of the TV. It has to be stitched upstairs. So slow progress, but this is now my oldest whip. So this is one that I will try and get as much love as it will try and I am struggling a little bit. My head is so trying to get the words out today, I think. Yeah, so I will try and give this one as much love as possible because I would really like to get it finished. I think I started it kind of about November 2022, so it really could do with being finished. So and it is such a beautiful stitch. Just I think there's going to be quite a lot of counting with those trees, and I think I already said to you in my last video that I know I've made a mistake in the tree on one side and had to think about how I could make sure it was symmetrical on the other side. So we'll see if I can manage to do that or not. We'll see. So my next whip is Go Tell It on the Mountain, and this is from Heartstring Samplery. I bought this as a PDF at the Jingle Ball, so I will have popped a picture up so you can see what it'll look like when it's fully finished, when it's finished. This is where I'm at. So since I last spoke to you, I have finished stitching this leaf here, and I've started on this leaf and berries here. So, and I think I may have made, I think I'd finished this holly here, and I made a mistake in that holly is slightly fatter than it should be, but you wouldn't have known if I hadn't have told you, would you? So I'm gonna leave it as it is. So progress, getting there. Not a huge amount more to do on this one, and very enjoyable. I'm stitching it on a 40 count even weave from a fabric that I bought from Megan at Coffee Craft Fabrics. So it's unnamed, but it's a beautiful kind of mauvey dark pink with some kind of grey mottling in it. Can the light get it? But beautiful. Took me a while to get used to stitching on it, but I think I'm there now. But need good light, but very enjoyable. Really enjoying that one. My next whip, this is one that Sarah and I are doing together, and we started together, and also stitching this with us are Alex, my friend Alex, who is at Stitch Alex Ong on Instagram, and also Judith, who is the ex-stitching librarian on Instagram. And I'm very sorry, Judith, I didn't name, I forgot to say your name on this one last time, but actually Judith, both, I'm loving the colour choices that the four of us have made on this project. So Sarah is doing hers in pinks, and she's just picking a pink out of her stash and stitching something with it. Alex has picked 4 colours that are just beautiful. They're just really subtle, go together just perfectly. And then Judith is doing it in different colours, and again I think just picking a thread out and stitching what she thinks, and it's beautiful because you know the stalks of the flowers she's stitching in greens, and just really loving it. And I'm really enjoying mine. Now I'm stitching mine with Roxy Floss Co threads. So this is For Thee, and it is by Lila Studio, and it's a freebie on her website. I'll pop a picture here of what it will look like when it is finished. Now, I got my threads. So I decided I was going to do mine in purples, and I had an array of Roxy Floss Co purples that I decided to do it with, and then I had a Brin and Needle darker colour that I thought I was just going to add in. So these were the 4, and it is absolutely beautiful, and I'm loving the purples, but I do think I'm going to add in on the Brin and Needle darker colour. There was that beautiful bright pink, and I think I will be adding that in. There's a couple of places that I'm just going to add in that I just think it needs it to give it a bit more of a lift. So this is how far I've got. I think since I last spoke to you, I finished off these at the bottom here. I've done some of the writing in here, and I think I've stitched this here. So Made some progress. Yeah, so it's a very enjoyable one, and it's lovely to see everyone else's progress and the different colours and different, you know, we're all going to end up, I think, with something that looks quite different, which is really good. And I am stitching this on, it's on a 36 count Zweigart. It's either white or antique white, can't remember which one, but I thought, you know, it was just great to bring the colours out, really. So enjoying that one. Making great progress here with my whips. We're nearly there. We are nearly there. So my next one, this is Winter Snow, and this is a I did print this as a PDF, and I did do a cover sheet for this one. I don't often print off the cover sheets just because they're quite, I don't need them. They're quite take quite a lot of ink on the colours, but I did print this one off. And this is designed by the lovely Lisa at Lost in Stitches Designs over in Canada. And I'm stitching this, my friend Ruth, who is, let me get her name right, she's Country Gal 854. Ruth is also stitching this with me, and also Amy from Renewing Stitches is stitching this with me as well. And this is how far I have got with this one. Just thinking the lightest perhaps. So I think since I last saw you, I filled in some of the lighter blue on this. I've done the roof, I can't remember. Didn't take a photo of this before I started stitching on it since I last spoke to you. But making progress. Not an awful lot more really to get a finish on this one. I'm stitching it on a 40 count mystery fabric out of my lovely stash bag, just because I've got lots of little pieces this kind of size that I can do smalls on, and I am using the called for DMC with that. So that's a lovely design by Lisa, and the colours are just beautiful, beautiful colours there that Lisa has chosen for that design. So really enjoying that one as well. I enjoy all my projects though. It's not difficult. It's not difficult. And my final whip is Coffee and Eggs. See the chicken theme again. And this is from Gigi, who is the artsy housewife. And I'm stitching this as a sal with my friend Lisa. And did I write down the sal? Probably not. I think it is hashtag we love coffee and eggs. So I was lucky enough to meet Lisa at Stitch in London, and she messaged me to say that she had the chart too, so we started it together. So this is how far I've got with it. I'm stitching on 35 count Weeks Dye Works. I think it's beige. It's either beige or, I did have it written down, and stupidly it's the one post-it note that I haven't got. Yeah, it's a Weeks Dye Work. It's either beige or, can't remember. If you really want to know, please do message me and I will tell you. So I think since I last spoke to you, I've got a bit more of the rainbow done, and I have got this leaf, an egg and her arm done. So I'm stitching this predominantly in Roxy Floss Co threads. So there is a Roxy Floss Co conversion for this. However, when I came to look at it, I've got quite a good stash of Roxy Floss from stitching September's Revenge by Maximum Cross Stitch. That had quite a few threads in it, so I'd bought the threads and the chart from Evertotes for that. And then at Stitch in London last year, so October 2023, Kerry came over for that, but also there was, so via Marie of Stitches and Diamonds, she was able to sell some threads, so I did stock up, but I didn't think at the time of getting the colours that I needed for this, despite the fact that Kerry was actually sat stitching on this at Stitch in London. So instead I think I have got two of the colours. So two of the colours that are called for are actually Colonel Mustard and Inappropriate. So I have got two of the called for, and then the rest I have pretty much picked from stash. So I you know, just found the next best thing, what I think looks good. There are I've got three DMCs in there: the skin colour of the lady, and the pink, and the kind of orange, pale peachy kind of colour. So there's a couple of DMCs in there, but actually I'm just doing my own conversion. And actually it was really interesting. I don't know if those of you who are doing Ros Clark crafts stitch along with her colours. I'm not actually stitching along, but I am watching her little videos because I do find them really, I find Ros very inspirational for doing things slightly differently, a bit more out of the box, and certainly thinking about thread, fabric and colour that is different. And you know, think Ros talking about colour and talking about the different things that you can do really does give me a bit of inspiration. So for example, with this, there are two greens that have been charted, but actually I have decided to add in a third green. So you'll notice here that the leaves, so the leaves are, there's two greens, the leaves are charted in two, but actually this should be one of the darker greens. And actually I thought, no, that's Lawn and Order from Roxy Floss Co. And I thought that looked better in the rainbow, that lighter, brighter green than the leaf colour that I'd chosen. So I added a third green into it. And Ros's last video on, it's either 6 or 7, she talks about how, you know, when you're doing something, you don't have to stick to what the designer has charted. You can do different things, but actually if the designer has charted 2 colours, you could actually add a third shade in, or a fourth shade. And again, just listening to Ros, you know, gives me the confidence that I can do things like that in my stitching, and I can make it mine. So, and make it different, make it, yeah, I can still use Roxy Floss Co. even if they're not the same colours and not the right colours. Doesn't matter. So I'm really enjoying that, being a little bit more creative, pretty much sticking with the similar colours, and quite excited to be starting on the chicken. So the chicken in this, let me show you the chicken. So I'm going to be stitching the chicken in Yes Yam. So that colour. So yeah, good. It's good. I'm enjoying it. And there's some quite nice blocks of stitching in that one actually. So, and with it being 35 count, it's obviously a little bit bigger. That's a really nice in front of the TV when your eyes are tired, when you've still a little bit headachy. So I'm really enjoying that one. So those are my whips. I showed you what I'm going to be starting in March in my last video. So if you missed that one, that's Flosstube number 27. Go and have a watch of that, and it'll show you what I'm going to be stitching this month. But as it is St David's Day, I am doing a new start today, and that is going to be Home Sweet Home by Scattered Seed Samplers, and I'm stitching this with my friend Elaine, who is Ellie Welly Stitcher, and she has just moved to Wales, so it is now her home sweet home. So I thought this was really appropriate for us to both start on St David's Day. So another welcome to Wales for Elaine. So, and then I am also going to be stitching, because I finished the 4 Seasons from Barbara Anna, my next Barbara Anna will be Garden of Dreams. But I will start this on a Wednesday night, but I am going to wait now until Sally has finished her Dreaming Girl, Stitchy Sally has finished her Dreaming Girl, and so that we can start this together. So no rush, Sally, we'll just start when you're ready. And because I've got a lot to do, so it, you know, doesn't really matter. And then Sarah, my lovely friend Sarah, who I'm doing 50 new starts with this year, we had a little bit of a conversation because one of her viewers had said to her, I really, really would love to know what you're stitching a bit more in advance, because so I can plan. I'd like to do some sales too, stitch along with you and Sally. And Sarah and I talked about it, and very much so. There are a few, one of our rules was there are no rules, and we were very, very flexible on what we're going to stitch. So we almost, we could provide you with the list of what we are planning stitching for the rest of the year, but I can guarantee it will change, because what I'd planned in December to stitch in January and February changed. There are a couple of things that stayed the same, but there were other things that went and other things that came in. So, we don't want to work really too far in advance to tell you, this is what we're going to do in May, this is what we're going to do in August, because this is what we're doing for the year, because we don't then want to get there and say, well, actually we've changed our mind, we're not doing it, and you've kitted something up and you're really disappointed. So so neither of us are sharing our lists of 50 other than with each other. So we've kind of got a rough idea, because we're trying to do one a month where we both do the same thing, both start on the same thing. However, saying that, there are a couple of projects that we are planning in advance, so we are happy to share them. I think Sarah shared one on her last video that she was going to start a bit later in the year, and I have one that I am going to start in April. So I thought I'd talk to you about it because it's a little bit of a biggie, and I'm starting this with the lovely Alex, who is Stitch Alex Ong on Instagram. And Alex messaged me and said, it's my birthday in April, could we do a stitch along, can we do something together? I was like, of course we can. So a few conversations backwards and forwards, and Alex, so I met Alex at the Jingle Ball in one of the chat rooms, in one of the rooms, and hit it off. We got on really well, so we've had a few messages backwards and forwards, and Alex hasn't been stitching a huge amount of time, but she's doing some wonderful things. So go and have a look at her on Instagram. She's starting to post a lot more. So she's gone back and started to watch my floss tubes from a year ago. So she started again, and so she's then therefore started to see some of my haul, and started to see things that she knows that I've bought. So she said, there is one that you've bought that I'd really like to do, and it's Spring Quaker by Lila Studio. Now, I've had this in my stash for quite a while, and I've seen quite a few people stitching it and start on it, and yeah, I'll be honest, I felt a little bit intimidated by it. I really did, because it's quite big, and not a massive fan of brown. I have to say, not a massive fan of brown, and a lot of those Quakers are brown. So I said to Alex, she suggested it, and I didn't go back to her straight away. I kind of sat and I made a working copy of the chart. And one thing I like to do is I'll make a working copy, and I'll staple it. Let me see if I can show you without showing you. So for example, this is coffee and eggs. So I'll put it like that, and I'll kind of stick it together. That's the back. I'll stick it together so that I can see a kind of bigger picture of it, because I find when I'm working on something with a number of pages, I can get a bit dazzled by it. So I did a working copy. I actually only just did the working copy of the middle bits, actually, and stuck it together and thought, yeah, that's okay. And I looked at the colours and I thought, actually, the middle colours are all okay. I'm happy with those. I've got most of the called for. And I had seen, now I think it's Woolly Kim on Instagram. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm so sorry if it's wrong. I'll pop the correct name down below. I should have written that one down before I started. And she'd stitched it in blue, and it was beautiful. And actually, if I can, I'll see if I can screenshot a picture of her version finished, and it was beautiful on the boo fabric. So and I'd also seen somebody else, and I can't for the life of me remember now. I can't find it on Instagram. I can't find the post, but somebody had stitched the Quakers, the brown Quakers, in what thread is it? I wasn't going to talk about this, and I've just suddenly started talking about it. But it was in old purple paint, I think, and so I had bought some skeins of that, and so I sat down and I ummed and ahed and I looked at the colours, and I think 24 hours later I messaged Alex back and just went, yeah, let's go for it, let's do it. So that is going to be a start on April the 13th with Alex. So it's Spring Quaker by Lila Studio. So if you've got that and you haven't yet started it, and you'd like to kit it up, or you'd like to buy it and come and stitch with Alex and I, we would love for you to join us to celebrate Alex's birthday. So that'll be the 13th of April, Spring Quaker from Lila Studio. So, and I think Sarah and I will try and look ahead at the year and decide if there are any absolute 100% those are stitches that we're going to do later in the year, and we will tell you if we can. So I know certainly we both have a planned birthday start. I'm not 100% on mine. I want to change mine. I haven't told Sarah that. There you go, Sarah, I've just told you. I want to change my birthday start. So, but I'm hoping Sarah doesn't change hers. If Sarah changes hers, I'd like it as mine. There we go, a little bit of wheeling and dealing with our starts. So if there is anything later in the year that are a dead cert to be started, we will tell you. But you know, we don't want to commit to you that we're going to start things that you then spend time and money working on to get kitted up and it doesn't happen. So that's why, you know, we're not doing too much in advance, but definitely starting that one. So that's my stitching, that's my plans. Haul, don't have any. I haven't spent any money in the last 2 weeks. There's definite, I think we talked a little bit about market on my last video. I had a few comments from people, and I had quite a few people tag me or send me pictures of some of the chicken charts. There's Satsuma Street, Little Chicken, 3D, oh, beautiful. There's another chicken, Kate sent me another chicken. Oh, Tiny Modernist, there was another chicken. It's spring, so there's lots of chickens, but of course, and again, Frosty Tiny Town, I think that was my absolute favourite. So I didn't actually put any pre-orders in for market because I missed the deadline, but I think there are a couple that I will get when our UK buyers get back from market and sort out their pre-orders and then put everything else on their websites, because there are a couple that I really do like, and I've been quite good so far this year. Haven't really bought an awful lot, so there will be a couple that will be purchased. So what else have I been doing? Well, floss tubers, there are a couple of lovely new British floss tubers this week who have filmed. First of all, Laura from Cotton and Clay did her first floss tube. I met Laura very briefly at Stitch in London. We didn't really talk much, unfortunately. I'd have liked to have got to know her a little bit better, but she did her first floss tube, absolute natural. Few Barbaranas in there, so it was lovely to see Laura. And then Sarah, who is cross_stitch_Sarah. Sarah has been on Instagram for a long time, and I think when I first started posting on Instagram, Sarah was one of the first people to comment and kind of bring me into the community, so to speak. And so it's really, really lovely to see Sarah on Flosstube. So please go and watch those two and give them some support for their first Flosstubes, because they're really fabulous. Yasmin, my lovely friend Yasmin from Yasmin Made with Love, she's given us 2 videos this week. So the first one is Yasmin's new releases, and she's also painting some beautiful boxes. Just absolutely gorgeous. I love the roses with gold and then some mandala. Oh, just she's so creative and such a good artist, Yasmin. So that's worth a look. But also she then did a second video which was a catch up on all her whips. Oh, and her new releases in the first video as well. So she's got some beautiful, colourful new releases for the spring. And then her second video was a catch up on her stitching. So it was great to catch up with Yaz. Really, really enjoyed that. And of course, Sally, my lovely friend Stitchy Sally, has released a video this week too. So Sally, I really hope that you're feeling better and that cough's gone and you can start to feel much more yourself soon. So sending lots of love to hope you feel better. And then just one last thing, I think I had such a lovely response to my last video showing some of the things that my mum has stitched for me over the years. It just, you know, all the comments on how lovely it was to see stuff from mum and to keep on showing more was just wonderful. And first of all, just wanted to say thank you to Alison, who commented on this one that mum had stitched me and confirmed that it was a drawn thread chart. And I think I haven't done my little I said to Alison, I'm going to do a little sticker on the back saying what it is. I think it's called the welcome spot, but it's a drawn thread chart, which is possibly, I haven't looked whether it's out of print now, but so thank you, Alison, for letting me know on that one. That was really good. And I think because of the initials on this one, this has got mum's initials, but actually also my initials on it. There are a few conversations around initials, and certainly with my friend Rachel, who is Stitchy Rach. She commented on the initials on that. So I thought, well, actually, I've got a couple of of stitches from mum that she's done that are initials. So the first one is an S that she stitched for me. Now I know that this is I mean, you can see the back of this has been framed, so you know, I think she probably did this when I was a teenager, I think. So you know, it's probably 35 years old, and it's beautiful S. And I don't know if you can see that I would say that's a Krynic on the wings. It's beautiful. Now again, I don't know who the designer is of this. Mum doesn't know. I wonder if it's a Nora Corbett, because I think she did fairies with initials. I have seen a couple of S's from her range of fairies and they are different, so it could be somebody else. I'm not sure, but that's an S that mum did for me probably when I was about 14 or 15. It looks like it's on an even weave, 2/2, but I would say, yeah, those wings in that back stitch are just beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. And then the other one I have, I would say this is equally as old, because this is framed a place that definitely doesn't exist anymore in the next village over to us. And this is a C. So my surname was a C. So my before I got married. And mum actually stitched this for my grandparents. So this is hung in their home. And I would say this was done probably when I was a teenager as well. It's on a cream even weave. And again, don't know the designer, but beautiful. And then when my grandmother died about 10 years ago, my aunt gave this to me because she thought I would like it. So even though that's not my surname initial anymore, I still have it. So beautiful little stitch again there from mum So I've got my S and my C. So yeah, so those are another two from the vault of Sally's mum. So Flossie Sews and Grows grandma. Well, because yeah, Flossie is my daughter. So there we have it. I think I've survived. I know there have been a couple of moments where I've thought, I think I might need to pause because I'm not feeling great. But I spoke a bit more slowly and there have been a few pauses, but I hope hope that hasn't deterred you. I'm looking forward now to switching this off and having 5 minutes sitting down with a cup of tea of just peace and quiet. Yeah. But anyway, it has been I've still really enjoyed it. I've still really enjoyed talking to you, even though I've not felt 100%. And it's lovely to catch up, lovely to talk to you about my stitching. I really hope that if you're new and it's your first time, I'm not quite this slow all the time. But I really hope you've enjoyed watching and listening and seeing what I've been up to. And it would be great if you could like this video, and if you could subscribe, that would be wonderful. And I love reading your comments every week, and I do, not always straight away, but I do try and respond to every single comment that you make. So you know, please do. And if there's anything that you'd like to join in with me later in the year, and you've seen in my haul in the past, I think I'd really like to stitch that, drop me a note and I'll let you know if it's on my list. And if it is, and you know, there's an occasion that you'd like to stitch it for, or you just really want to stitch it with me, you know, then it's likely that I'll say yes, and we can make that a bit of a definite in the Fun for 50 Sal on the way to getting to 50 for 50 new starts for turning 50. Crazy, mad, yeah. Absolutely, but having fun and enjoying it. So thank you for tuning in. Lovely to see you all. I'll come back in another 2 weeks and show you what I'm going to stitch in April. So there'll be some April plans and how I've got on in March so far. So take care, everybody. Happy stitching, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.